What's that beeping?
Today, we're gonna talk about those beeps, and really specifically, the machine behind the beeps, that is the CMM. What is a CMM and what is she made of? Now, we'll go ahead and start with the definition. CMM, coordinate measuring machine. Now, some of you have heard that term, but maybe you don't know exactly what it means. Well, let's break it down real quick. You got coordinate, right? That means that basically what we're doing takes place in a coordinate system, specifically a 3D Cartesian coordinate system, which is just a fancy way to define points in space, three-dimensional space defined by X, Y, and Z. Now, we're doing what? We're measuring, right? So coordinate measuring, and of course, it's a machine. CMM, coordinate measuring machine. A couple years ago, we got the pleasure of going to Japan and seeing these machines get made up close and in person, and you can really see the detail and the quality that goes into that build with every component I'm about to take you through. And now we're gonna go ahead and get into, do you actually need a CMM in your shop? So obviously there is some upfront cost and pretty significant with some CMMs, but you have to keep in mind, if you want to do high-end aerospace manufacturing, a lot of times you're going to have to invest in high-end CMM inspection. This is designed to take complex measurements using GD&T principles and stuff that just make it really hard to do in a manual way. Now, obviously we've done that back in the day. We made airplanes and stuff like that before CMMs, but it was tedious and it took a long time. For example, you have a small part right here. I have a small little threaded feature in here. Do I need a CMM to check this? No, I don't. Pair of calipers, maybe a micrometer, thread gauge, good to go, right? But when you have a part like this, right, I'm trying to check these top hole positions to the center of this cylinder right here, all while staying perpendicular to this face right here. Well, that may be a case where you want a CMM. Obviously, you can go ahead and check things like dimensions. So you have diameters, you have distances, you have things like that, your basic standard measurements. It can do all of that. It can also do things like basically form, right? So if we want to check the flatness of our ceiling surfaces, like we have right here, you're gonna be able to check that. You're gonna be able to check parallelism, angularity, things like that. Run out for holes. How do holes run together from one side of a part to another side of a part? True position, that is obviously a very big thing again. So again, if you want to know where the position of a hole is in relation to another hole or in relation to a surface or other features on here, a CMM is definitely going to shine for you with respect to speed and accuracy there. You have things like profile. Profile is really hard to measure without some sort of automated help, and that is where you can use a probe like this. You can use, a lot of CMMs have scanning modules, so you can take more points by scanning across that surface. We actually have one out there on the shop floor on the MyStar. Many CMMs can come and you can get basically laser attachments there, so you can scan and get lots of points that way. You have CMMs that have cameras on there, and even things like profilometers or checking basically surface roughness. So the CMM, very capable machine and basically able to help you handle just about any GD&T or dimensional tolerance you have on your print. Which brings up another question, right? How accurate is a CMM? And that is always something you want to know. Most of them are going to be within micron or even sub-micron level, depending on the CMM. Now, this machine specifically is 1.7 microns, so just under 2 microns, which is just under basically, that's probably, let's see, 1.7 microns. Oh, it quizzed me, it was like 65 millionths of an inch. I don't know. I haven't done that math. I'm doing it live right here. So we'll check that on the screen down below. Now, a little friendly tip, that 1.7 microns accuracy is a base level. It does increase a little bit as your measurements get longer. These CMMs have scales on there, and basically the further you go out, you have the chance to introduce a little more error, but it is usually just a small addition. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, so maybe the biggest question, even more than, do you need it, is really how does it work? And if you've been in an environment with a CMM and machinists, there can be some tension there sometimes where a machinist maybe checks her part and it comes back and the CMM's like, no, sorry, you're wrong. And the machinist's like, what do you mean I'm wrong? How am I wrong? Tell me, how does that machine know things that I don't know? First thing we need to realize is that when this machine moves around, right, there is a position in this machine. I'm not sure exactly where it is in this machine, but it's tracking that position wherever we go. But that's not what's actually touching the part, right? So when we come down, and let's say we make that little beep, right? Now this can be a vertical beep like here, right? Or this can be a beep where we come in from the side. Now every time you can see your stylus with that ruby ball move a little bit. And what's happening is there's a seat in there. It's called a kinematic seat. And all that is a place where that probe, every time it moves, it comes back to the exact same spot every single time. It's always in that spot, except for when it's deflected. So whenever it moves off that perfect position, that perfect seat, it records the machine position. The controller does. Wherever we're going, always records it. Now, what it then does is it takes whatever position it is tracking in that machine, and it now compensates. It compensates according to a couple different things. Basically, the length of the stylus, the ruby ball tip. All these things help us tell where the point is in relation to this part. Now, that can be a little confusing. Now, you might ask yourself, well, how do we know that the stylus is right? We program, we say, okay, this stylus is 20 millimeters long and I have a 2 millimeter ball. What if it's not a perfect 2 millimeter ball? Well, then we're gonna come back to that calibration ball that we talked about over there. That's why that's super, super important. But that ceramic ball on that calibration sphere over there, that is well known. We know that size to like millionths of an inch. It's very highly calibrated. We know exactly what size it is. So we will use that and we will come down and we will make several touches on that calibration sphere. And with that perfectly known sphere and the rough data for our length and our stylus here, we then can basically compensate. So if I say this is a 2 millimeter ball, but I know exactly what that sphere is, I go around and make a bunch of points, I might have to compensate by a couple tenths or something like that to ensure that whenever we touch the part, we know exactly where we've actually touched the part. Now, I know that's complicated. There's a lot of math. I'm gonna try to do an example that maybe might make it a little bit more sense. So let's say in my head, I'm able to track the position of, let's say, this knuckle. I'm able to track the position of this knuckle wherever it is in space. My head's like the controller on the CMM. Now, but I'm not touching things with my knuckle because that's inside of here, right? I can't touch things, but I can touch things with the tip of my finger. And I know that my finger is roughly about 3 inches long, right? So if I'm able to touch down here, I'm able to track the position of my knuckle. I know where I touched is approximately 3 inches lower than that. Now, I don't know exactly if it's 3 inches. What if my finger is a little bit less? Well, let's calibrate my finger, much like I would do with the ball. So if I take a pair of calipers right here, it's pretty rough and ready, but right, we're gonna calibrate and be like, oh, look, from my knuckle to the tip of my finger, actually 3.143. Now, I've calibrated my finger. Now when I come down and I touch and I feel that pressure, or it bends maybe a little bit, it kick off the seat, I know that the position of this table is 3.143 below my knuckle. That's essentially what's happening here with the CMM. Now, starting with the foundation, all CMMs use a granite surface plate. This is strong, it's thermally stable, and provides an excellent base upon which to take all our measurements. Next, we obviously have the CMM itself. You have a couple types, usually defined by a gantry CMM or a bridge CMM. This is a bridge CMM, so you can see we have these legs here that move back and forth, and you have the bridge right here that holds our Z column. Now, in that Z column, you can see some of the other components. We obviously have our probe assembly. This is going to be one of the most important parts on your CMM because it does the probing, takes the points, right? So this right here is a PH20 5-axis probe head, and this allows us, the head allows all the movement, right? So when we're articulating, we're moving up and down, rotating this is our probe head. Below that, we have the probe body right there, and attached to the probe body, we have our probe module. I'm gonna go ahead and break that off for you. There is your probe module. Machine's not happy, but that'll be okay. Snap back on there with some magnets. It always returns right back to the same spot. And below our probe module right there, we have our stylus, and we have a ruby ball, synthetic ruby. Don't get any ideas. All right, of different diameters and lengths. Speaking to the different diameters and lengths, you can see we have a probe rack right here. Now on that probe rack, we have different lengths of stylus. We have accessories. We have some long extenders right here that allow us to reach into deep cavities. You can see we have all synthetic ruby here, but that's not always the case. In fact, sometimes if you're scanning aluminum, you might see some silicon nitride, and that basically doesn't pick up aluminum particles like the synthetic ruby. Those will not be red. Those will be a silver color. So if you see that, you know what's going on there. Now, in addition to that, because we have parts of various shapes and sizes, we may need to fixture those. Sometimes we can set the part down right here on the granite, and that's good to go. Sometimes we might have to lift this part up. For example, if I want to take this part and I want to hold it like this, how do I do so, right? So for that, we have various fixturing. You can see we have a plate here. You can see back here, we have a fixture set up to basically go ahead and hold the part. So again, lots of different options to basically handle the different configurations of measurements that you need to take. Now, the final components that basically kind of help drive this whole system are really kind of three in nature. One is you have your computer here with your software, right? So for our CMM, we use mCosmos. That basically allows me to write the programs and tell the machine what I want it to do. All right, the second item we have here is the CMM joystick. This allows me to move the CMM back, forth, to, fro, come down, take points, establish data and reference frames, and the whatnot. And finally, we have the controller. Now, the controller a lot of times is under the machine or somewhere else. Most people don't really think about that, but that really communicates with the software and the controller. It basically logs all the movements. It tells the machine to move, and when we basically make a point, it records that point. And man, I almost forgot, can't believe I almost forgot her. The ceramic calibration ball right there, super, super important. Again, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but basically it makes sure that the beeps and all the things that I do right here reflects the actual dimensions on this part, so super critical. All right, so one thing to keep in mind, there is a lot of upfront work here you see with the programming, but ultimately this is set up for complete automation. Your second part, you come in, you put it in your fixture setup, hit the button, bam, product inspection done. So with that, that basically wraps up the CMM. Not a lot of components, but they all matter. They're all important. All right, so that wraps up our high-level overview of the CMM. Again, there are gonna be different nuances with different machines, but essentially, I hope you learned something about the basics, the components, what she can do, and really kind of a little bit of how it works. So thanks again, guys. Make sure you head on over to the Academy where you can check us out. We got free educational videos, and there's always the store where you can come and get a lot of things to help you manufacture better. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll see y'all next time.